There is a boy standing on a football pitch in Rosario, Argentina. He is 11 years old, and a doctor has just told his family that he might never grow, not just in football terms. In life terms, his bones weren't developing the way they should. His growth hormone levels were dangerously low. Without expensive medical treatment that his family couldn't afford, doctors weren't sure what kind of future this boy was looking at. And yet, someone looked at this small, underdeveloped kid and thought, he should play professional football. Think about that for a second. The sport that values speed, physicality, power. The sport where defenders are built like walls and midfielders run 70 kilometers a game. Someone genuinely believed that this boy, the one the doctors were worried about, had a future in it. They were right. But what nobody tells you about Lionel Messi is how close none of it came to happening. How many moments existed where this story simply ends. No Ballon d'Or, no World Cup, no greatest of all-time conversation. Just a kid from Argentina who doctors gave up on. Rosario, 1990. Jorge and Celia Messi have a boy who is obsessed with football. That is not unusual in Argentina. Every kid in Rosario kicks a ball. The streets, the parks, the tiny dirt pitches carved into the neighborhood. Football is everywhere, but Leo is different from the start. He doesn't just play, he plays like it's the only thing that makes sense to him. His grandmother Celia is the one who first really sees it. She's the one who takes him to training. She's the one who pushes for him to get noticed. She believes in him completely, at a time when belief is the only resource the family has. When Leo is 6, he joins Newell's Old Boys Youth Academy. And here is the thing, even at 6, even this small, he is simply better than everyone around him. The ball sticks to his left foot like it's magnetic. He moves through spaces that other children don't even see. Coaches are astonished, but the growth problem doesn't go away. It gets more serious. By the time Leo is 10, the gap between him and other boys is becoming a real concern. Not talent. Physically, he is noticeably smaller, noticeably shorter. And the diagnosis confirms what people could already see. Growth hormone deficiency. His pituitary gland wasn't producing enough. The treatment existed. It was straightforward, medically speaking. The cost was $900 a month. For a working-class family in Argentina in the middle of an economic crisis, that might as well have been $1 million. Newell's initially agreed to help cover the costs, then quietly stopped. River Plate showed interest, then pulled away when they understood what the financial commitment would actually involve. Nobody wanted to pay, so here is this extraordinary talent, this kid who is genuinely doing things at youth level that coaches have never seen, and he is being turned away. Not because of football, because of money. His father Jorge makes a decision. They will go to Spain, Barcelona. There was a possibility, not a guarantee, just a possibility, that Barcelona might be willing to look at the boy. Leo is 13 years old. He has never lived outside of Rosario. His grandmother, the person who believed in him most, is not coming with them. She dies before they leave. He never really talks about that. Not properly. But if you watch him in his early years at Barcelona, the quietness, the almost total retreat into football, it tells you something. When the person who saw you most clearly is gone, sometimes the only way to carry it is to play. The first Barcelona training session stops. Not because something goes wrong, because something goes so right that the coaches don't trust what they're seeing. This is a 13-year-old who has just crossed the Atlantic with his family, training with boys significantly older and bigger than him, and he is making them look ordinary. Carles Rexach, Barcelona's sporting director, is watching from the side. He doesn't wait for a formal report. He doesn't call a meeting. He scribbles a commitment to sign Messi on a paper napkin because he is genuinely worried that if they hesitate, someone else will move first. That napkin is technically a contract. It sounds absurd, but that's how certain he is about what he just saw. Barcelona agreed to cover the full cost of the growth hormone treatment. Messi gets the injections every night, for years. His teammates at La Masia later describe how he would quietly give himself the injections in his leg before bed, like it was nothing. A 12, 13, 14-year-old kid managing a medical condition alone in a foreign country, far from most of his family. He barely speaks. His teammates call him El Mudo, the mute. Not unkindly, just because he says almost nothing. But on a football pitch, he is anything but silent. By 15, Messi is training with the Barcelona C team. By 16, a first-team session. By 16 years and 4 months, his first competitive appearance. Then, the moment everything changes. November 2003. A friendly against Porto. Messi comes on as a substitute. 16 years old. And within minutes of stepping onto the pitch, he produces a piece of skill so outrageous, a nutmeg, a sharp turn, a sudden burst of pace, that his own teammates stop to stare. Not the opposition, his own teammates. Describing Messi at his peak is harder than it sounds because language wasn't really built for it. He wasn't the fastest player on the pitch. He wasn't the biggest, obviously. He wasn't even the loudest in terms of personality. But when he received the ball, something changed. In the stadium, in the other team, you could feel it. Defenders knew what was coming. They just couldn't stop it. One touch, the ball glued to his foot. He'd drop a shoulder. The defender would shift. Gone. 2 more would close him down. He'd see them before they were even moving. Change direction in half a step, a distance so small it looked like nothing. And suddenly there was space where there was no space a second ago. Commentators used to lose their composure on live television, not because they didn't know what they were watching, because they did. Because in 40 years of watching football, they had never seen anything quite like it, and they knew it. Defenders tried everything, double teams, tracking him from the first whistle, physicality, fouling him. And sometimes those things would slow him for half an hour, maybe longer. But eventually, always eventually, something would open up. A half yard of space, one moment of hesitation, and he would punish it so completely, so ruthlessly, that it made the previous 90 minutes of defensive organization look pointless. At the Bernabeu, in front of 60,000 Real Madrid supporters, he scores a hat trick. And when the third one goes in, the crowd does something they almost never do for an opposing player. They stand up. All of them. A standing ovation. At the Bernabeu. For Messi, that does not happen in football. That had never happened in football. And yet there it was, because 60,000 people who desperately wanted him to fail had just watched something they couldn't pretend they hadn't seen. In the 2011-12 season, he scores 73 goals across all competitions. 73. The previous record had stood for decades. He didn't just break it, he broke it by more than 10. There are players who chase 40 goals their entire career and never reach it. He does 73 in a single year. But even that number, as staggering as it is, isn't quite the point. The point is what it felt like on a Tuesday night in the Champions League. The walkout at the Bernabeu or the San Siro. That particular held breath in a stadium, that collective tightening when he picked up the ball in space. Rival managers in post-match interviews who couldn't find the words, who just shook their heads slowly, like they wanted to say something but had given up trying to explain it. 4 consecutive Ballon d'Or awards. 4. To the same man. Consecutively. The rest of the world's footballers competed to see who came second. But here's the thing nobody tells you about being Messi. It comes with Argentina. At Barcelona, surrounded by Xavi and Iniesta and a system built almost perfectly around him, football makes sense. It flows. It works. Everything clicks. With Argentina, it is a completely different story. His first World Cup is 2006. He is 18, plays in glimpses. 4 years later, 2010, Argentina go out to Germany in the quarterfinals. Messi has a decent tournament by anyone else's standards. By his, something feels absent. The criticism starts, And once it starts, it doesn't stop. You've heard it. Everyone has. That he is a European player, not really Argentine. That he saves his best for Barcelona. That when it truly matters, different shirt, different teammates, different pressure, he cannot do it. The Maradona comparisons, which were once a form of praise, start to become something sharper, because Maradona won a World Cup, and Messi has not. 2014, Argentina reached the World Cup final. In Brazil, at the Maracanã, they face Germany, and they lose. 1-0, extra time. Messi receives the golden ball, best player of the tournament, and holds it with both hands like someone has handed him the wrong thing. He barely looks at it, just stands there. 40,000 blue and white shirts in the stadium. The ones who stayed are crying. Copa America 2015. Final. Loss. Copa America 2016. Final. Loss. 3 finals. 3 defeats. After the third, he stands at the press conference microphone and announces his international retirement. 29 years old. He is done with it. Done with the heartbreak. Done with carrying an expectation that feels less like belief and more like a judgment he can never escape. Argentina goes into something close to mourning. Fans take to the streets, not in protest, in grief and in pleading. His mother calls. Former teammates call. The whole country asks him to come back, in the way you ask someone not to leave when you know you have no right to ask. He comes back. Qatar, 2022. Messi is 35 years old. Every major club trophy, every individual award. He has won everything in the game except the one thing that would settle the argument once and for all. Argentina's first game is against Saudi Arabia. They lose. Nobody sees it coming. Argentina, with Messi, the favorites. They lose to Saudi Arabia in one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history. And for a moment, just a brief, terrible moment, you can feel the old story threatening to restart. The pattern, the heartbreak, the almost, the close. But something is different this time. The Messi who played his first World Cup at 18 was already extraordinary, but there was a weight in it, a need to prove something that felt almost desperate. The Messi in Qatar carries himself differently. Something has settled in him. A stillness, the kind that only arrives when you have genuinely stopped trying to control everything and just decided to play. Argentina win every remaining game. The final. France. The greatest football match most people alive have ever seen. Argentina lead 2-0. France score twice in 90 seconds. Extra time. Messi scores. France equalize again. Penalties. He walks up to the spot. 172 international appearances. Every kind of defeat this game has to offer. And he places the ball, takes 3 steps back, and puts it away like it's a training drill. Calm, precise. Left foot. Argentina win. And Messi drops to his knees on the Lusail pitch. And for a few seconds, he stays there, kneeling on the grass, surrounded by noise that sounds like the entire country of Argentina compressed into a single moment. His children run onto the pitch, his wife, his teammates piling on top of him. He is world champion. There's a boy standing on a football pitch in Rosario, Argentina. He is 11 years old, and a doctor has just told his family that he might never grow. Somewhere between that room and that moment on the Lusail pitch, between the diagnosis and the trophy, a story unfolded that football had never seen and probably never will again. Not because of the goals, not because of the records, or the trophies, or the statistics that will take decades to fully absorb, because of who he was before any of it. A quiet kid who gave himself injections before bed in a foreign country, who said almost nothing, and let the football do the talking.